morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you happen to be listening. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome to the show today Kelly Augspurger. She is a producer at Steadfast Insurance, specializing in long-term care and life insurance. She's in the Westerville, Ohio area. So for all you Ohio or not Ohio natives, this is just north of Columbus. So now this is like a little piece of geography that I feel like I've acquired this morning. So I feel a little bit smarter about my Ohio mapping skills. Still need to make it to Columbus. But I was trying to figure out how Kelly and I ended up even meeting one another. And it's really just based on the fact that we work in an amazing industry and we get to connect with new and different people every single day. And so she and I managed to connect, I think probably first on LinkedIn. And, now we're going to get to know each other a little bit better through this show. So I am so excited that you're here. How are you doing today, Kelly?
I'm super, Olivia. I'm thrilled and so humbled to be on your show. So thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't even know exactly, I just have felt very drawn since I started seeing your content on LinkedIn. So I was just kind of drawn in by all of that. And so I'm glad that you were just as excited to meet me as I am to be meeting you.
Totally.
Time with you. So this is going to be fun. And I'm excited to dig into your journey. I got to know a little bit more about it the other day when we first chatted. And so I love how there's just no one direct path into figuring out what your career is going to be in insurance. And so you certainly have had an interesting journey here, and it's going to be fun to share that with the audience and and just get to know more about you and what you have to share with everybody. Now, first things first, how is life in Ohio? How are the kids doing? What's everybody up to right now?
Yeah, so for us, kids are back in school. Hallelujah. We are in person 5 days a week, and that is not standard across Ohio, but for our particular school, we are, in person 5 days a week. And so I drive my kids to school every day. And someday, in the beginning of school, they're like, oh my gosh, we're so excited. We can't wait to get back to school, in person, especially my daughter. My son's like, do I have to go? Wanting to be home. But so they've been totally stoked to be back in person for the most part. And then this week, dropping them off today, they're like, oh, I'm kind of getting tired of school already. And it's like, you guys, we just started, But I know overall, they're so happy to see friends and even teachers and just be together, because there's just been not a lot of that lately. So for the school, yes, we're in person. We have a lot of things open here. We aren't going to huge group gatherings, but we're still doing stuff. So obviously masked up and taking all the precautions and everything. But I feel like we're starting to get back to somewhat of a normal life, which is so refreshing.
Yes. So establishing a little bit of a new normal. It's, it's so interesting to me to think about how long will we wear masks? When will we see somebody's entire face when we're out in public?
Right.
All of that, I'm just that'll be interesting. I mean, when we're at parks and things around here, people aren't masked up. Is it similar there?
Yeah, I think outside people aren't masked up, but if you're in a confined space, for sure. But outside, oh no, people are not wearing masks.
Yeah. So it is nice to see things opening up again. I think it's necessary not only from an economic standpoint, but just from a human socialization standpoint. I missed it so much. Just being able to run to the store and have a conversation with somebody. Because I remember before masks were mandatory, it was you didn't talk to anybody. Everybody's just trying to keep their distance. And now I feel like there's a little bit more of a comfort level established when you are in, confined social situations, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I know. I think that part has been so hard, because I'm very social, and so loving to like get together with people, having play dates, you know, just hanging out. And so like not being able to like physically be close to people, and I'm a hugger. And so for me not to be able to like go up to like hug people, I'm like, oh, fake out, you know, we're not actually gonna hug, we're just gonna do like an air hug, you know, kind of like that. People can't see me, but I'm like air hugging. So that's really been hard. Obviously doing a lot of Zoom and FaceTime and all that, which, you know, I'm so thankful for technology and that we can do all those things, because I can't imagine like even just talking on the phone with someone. Yeah, that's great, but like not being able to see their face.
Yeah.
So really thankful for FaceTime and Zoom and all that, to still be able to at least have some of that face to face.
Yeah, and I found that actually I ended up Zoom, I mean, obviously partially because of the podcast, but I ended up like having these Zoom calls and these, you know, Zoom happy hours with people that I really didn't get to see that frequently anyway. And now we actually talk more than we did. And it was just like, there certainly was like this level of awareness of like, we're going to socialize in any way that we can at this point. Like I feel like there were new friendships, or friendships were almost taken to a new level with some people that I had considered to be friends, but now it's like we've kind of stepped it up. We're just talking more.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, technology allows us to do that, which is amazing.
Yeah, but I am also a hugger, so it is hard. You know, like when somebody will let you hug them, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
I know. I just want to savor the moment.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that 3 seconds too long?
Right. Did I linger? So sorry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Another fun fact that Kelly and I discovered during, before we formally hit record on this, we're also the same height.
We are fun size.
Yes. We're both 5'1". So, are you placing bets on when your kids are going to outgrow you? Like, are they getting close?
My daughter, she's 10. She's 10, and she is, I believe, 4'6" or 4'7". So like she is creeping up there, and she reminds me almost daily, mom. And she's like starting to wear my shoes, and like she can wear some of my clothes. Like it's a little scary. I'm like, no, you cannot wear that shirt. You know, like put my clothes back. But she'll like come out of my closet like with my heels on. And I'm like, oh dear God, like, no, we're not doing this yet, you know? And then my son will like do the same thing. I'm like, no, we're drawing the line there. We cannot be doing this, you know? But yeah, she will soon, I think, quickly surpass me. But my husband, Adam, is 6'2". So like, you know, I'm like way down here and he's way up here. So I feel like we've got a good margin. So I think she'll probably be quite average, you know, like I'm not going to be surprised when I'm looking up to her.
Yeah. I think my kids are going to outgrow.
I mean, yours too, right? Like
my oldest is like 5'10", 5'11".
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, which is
14-year-old.
Yeah, 14. So I just make him reach stuff for me.
I'm
like, get that out of the cabinet for me. So it's not all bad, but I think like my 10-year-old is 3 inches shorter than me.
Okay.
So he's really like,
we
are checking on a daily basis as well. Right. And then my 7-year-old is like, I think we're going to be the same size, but I think she's much taller than I was at her age. So you know, I don't know. We'll see how things turn out for her. But then when I see her with her classmates, I'm like, oh, she is smaller than most of her classmates. So maybe she would, but who knows? But yeah, it's funny. And did you do that with your parents? I don't remember if I was like always checking my height against.
I remember with my mom, because I was so concerned because I was always so petite, always like the smallest in the class. And like it did really bother me for a long time. Like, why am I so small? You know, like, Mom, when am I gonna grow? You know, and we'd ask the pediatrician, and like, she's fine. She's just small. Like, she's just petite. You have small people in your family, and it's okay. You know, it's totally fine. But I do remember doing that with my mom, and my mom's 5'4". So for me, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't ever surpass you, but you know, that's all good. I'm totally content. Like, I do now really appreciate being small.
Yeah.
But not as a kid. Did not.
Yeah. And I think it is funny, like as a kid, it does seem like the worst thing that could happen to you. And
Yeah, for
as an
sure.
adult, you're like, there's so many worse things that I could have to deal with
Yes,
other than being short.
totally.
But my mom was only 5'2", and
Okay.
I
Yeah.
never got taught. I was so close, so close. But I
Mm,
do have one sister that only hit 5 foot.
okay.
So, so I'm like, at least I'm not the shortest in the entire.
Tall people, right? Now, do you have a stool in your kitchen?
I do.
Okay, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I have to, like, and it's like a permanent fixture too. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna tuck it away. No, it's always out.
Yeah.
Because we have a very old home. Our home was built in like 1850. And so we have, like, in some rooms, really high ceilings. And our kitchen is one of those places. And
Yeah.
so our cabinets are like crazy high. Like, I have to stand on the counter
Yeah.
to reach the top shelf. And so, but in order to get on the counter, usually I like use my step stool, you know, or even to put away dishes. Like, I'm using my step stool.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, yeah, it's all good. I'm thankful for step stools.
Yes, I hear you. Absolutely. Yeah. I know. I was decorating like the top of the cabinets, and I'm just like walking along the cabinet.
Yeah.
And like a friend came over and walked in the house, and they were like, what is going on here? Like, there's no other way for me to do this.
No, that's it. I mean, I used to, like, I would say in the beginning of our marriage, before we lived in this house, I'd be like, Adam, will you come in the kitchen? I need your go-go gadget arms. You know, can you like get that for me? And then now, like, I'm home so much, I'm like, I can't wait until he gets home. Like, no, I'm just gonna do myself, you know? So I get up on the counter and get done whatever I need done. So it works.
Yeah, I know. You just figure you have to just be innovative. You figure it out. So,
right.
So yeah. So switching gears a little bit, or a lot of it, I got to hear a little bit of your story about how you know, came into this role with life insurance and long-term care. But can you walk everybody through your background and how Steadfast came to be? Because I think it's a fantastic story.
Absolutely. So prior to being with Steadfast, I was in the auto world for 12-ish years, and I helped my dad start a used car dealership and helped him run it for about 12 years. And so it was an amazing experience. I learned so much. I grew so much. I mean, I learned, you know, how to start a business and sales and marketing and customer service. I mean, really, I don't think there was a hat that I didn't wear, except I didn't actually fix cars. So I am not mechanically inclined, so I didn't do that. But just about everything else. I mean, I was even at the auction buying cars some days. That wasn't my strong suit, but I was there in the lane. If we had two cars to bid on, I was in the other lane bidding on a car with all of the men, very, very heavily male industry. So it was a fantastic learning experience. And then a couple years ago, Adam said, hey, what do you think if I start my own independent insurance agency? And at the time, he was working for another independent agency, and wonderful, wonderful group, wonderful people, but wanting to have something of his own. And so I said, absolutely, like, go for it. Like, I believe in you. You will totally rock it. So that was a couple years ago. And then a couple months after that conversation, he's like, well, hey, you know, I'm trying to get my ducks in a row, but I think I'm going to need you too. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, wait a minute. I don't do insurance. That's not my gig, you know, like I know the car world. That's what I've been doing all these years. And he's like, you know, just think about it. He's like, I, you know, can handle all the home, auto, and business, but we need someone on the life and health side. And so he's like, go talk to so-and-so who's a veteran, been a veteran in the business for years and is a close friend of ours. And so I did. And I had, I don't even know, like a 2-3 hour lunch with him. And after that, I was completely sold. I knew that's exactly where I needed to be. I signed up for my classes the next day, and I had my license in a few weeks. And so it was just like, I just knew that's where God wanted me. And so I followed that. And just shortly after that, we went to the Elevate conference. It was like literally, I think I had my license for like a week. No kidding. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be here. Like, I feel so out of place. I don't know anything about insurance other than, you know, what I've learned in my book. And Adam's like, no, like you absolutely need to be here. Like you're going to learn so much. You're going to meet great people, connections, all of that. And I feel like that really ignited the fire in me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best industry ever. Like, I love it. So many great speakers, got to meet so many great people. And I'm like, you know, this is just amazing. So, you know, I started out just selling life insurance. And then last year, about this time, I had breakfast with a friend, kind of a mentor of mine, and she's a client as well, and we were talking about insurance, and she said, hey, you know, Kelly, do you know much about long-term care insurance? You know, we're looking into it for, you know, myself and my husband. You know, our parents, we went through some kind of awful extended care situations, and we want to get something in place. And I'm like, no, I don't, but I want to know more, you know? And it just made me realize, it made me think about, like, hey, all of my grandparents needed long-term care. None of them had insurance for it. It was so devastating, really, for our family because we were physically helping to provide the care, or just the stress of it, the huge burden. I mean, we had one of my grandpas lived with us for a time. I helped take care of one of my grandmas for a couple of years, doing just kind of minor things, but you know, it was just really just a heavy burden for everybody, especially the caregiver, like the other grandparent. So that kind of started just a real interest and passion for me. And so I went and got my CLTC, Certified Long-Term Care Insurance Specialist designation. And I'm like, you know what, this is really what I want my niche to be, just because I feel so passionate about it. And I know that so many people are misinformed or just undereducated in it. So I really want to bring that education piece into it, and just say, hey, you know, this is what it is. This is what it can do for your family. This is not just a financial piece. You know, this is way more. This is protecting your family. So that has been my goal, and that's really what I've been trying to do, like this last year.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I love this so much there's just a couple of things. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like our stories are similar, except that like I've been doing this for a long time, but like Elevate is what like changed things for me. It was just this huge, just fire starter. It was a catalyst to me really being able to understand or have a wider perspective of what insurance was all about. I had lived in a very, you know, like, these are my four walls and this is how it functions. And then there was just like this huge mind-blowing world out there. It's just crazy. And that, like, these amazing people.
Right.
So like and now like it's connected you and me, which is fantastic. And I just absolutely love that. But you know, I know you and I had talked about this before, and I just want to emphasize this with people. And I talk about it a little bit on, the episode that I posted today, but there's so much value in our journeys. And like me being in it for almost 16 years, you being in it for a couple of years, there's stuff that you've brought from all of your prior experience that has, you know, allowed you to be successful and continue growing in this role, because you've already evolved in a couple of years. And there was part of me that really thought that until you have like 10 years or more in the industry, like, what are you going to teach anybody? But we all have all of these life experiences that add up and bring us to a certain point in our journey, and where, you know, like where you are today with Steadfast, and the experiences that you had that make what you do so important and personal to you. There's not a lot of people that necessarily even look at long-term care situations with their family members,
Right.
which were probably, you know, if they didn't have the right finances or the right setup, was probably a stressful experience. And even with the insurance, I think it can be just, you know, getting it all coordinated, like a stressful experience. But not everybody looks at it and goes, I need to do something about that. But you did. Which I
I mean, it's I can't take all the credit for it. Like, I just really felt, you know, like I was called to do this, and just knowing that this is where I need to serve, and this is where I need to bring awareness and let people know, like, you have options, and to hopefully be able to help future families so they don't have to experience, what like my family has experienced and what so many other families have experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love that what you say, like, I mean, coming into the insurance industry and, in your mid-30s, it was super intimidating. I'm like, oh my goodness, starting really, I felt like from square one, where I felt like so many people have way more experience than me. Like, why is anyone going to listen to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I have? What can I offer that has value and is meaningful? And so, but I think, like, I made it a priority to be on LinkedIn at the beginning of the year. And I was like, okay, I know this is where I need to be. I want to partner with other professionals, financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, estate planners. And if I want to do that, I know I need to be on LinkedIn.
Yep.
But being on LinkedIn, being able to see people across the board in so many different professions, but really, even if they're beginners, like trying to add value to other people and learning from each other, right? Like, I've learned even so much in such a short amount of time from people like you, Olivia, from others in this space where it's like, it's okay to be vulnerable and say you don't know everything. It's okay. Like, you're in a spot in your journey and there's so much growth and so much opportunity. And even prior to being where you are right now, you've learned so much. So use what you've learned in your new role. And so that's what I'm just trying to keep that mindset. Like, okay, I may not have all the answers and I never will, but like, each day is a day to learn more and to grow and evolve and serve. And so that's just what I'm trying to do, and have a good attitude about it. I feel like attitude is everything.
Yeah.
So knowing, like, okay, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay if I don't know, but I'll find out, like, I will get back to you.
Yeah. But I think, like, the collection of all of our experiences matter, and you never know when you're going to need to call on it. Like, I just feel, do you ever have those experiences where something comes up and you're like, wait, this feels familiar?
Yeah, for sure.
And you can, recall something that's happened in the past, and you can use that in the decision making or the process that you need to try and outline for dealing with the current situation. But also just answering the call, because I'm sure there was a little apprehension. Like, it probably felt a little intimidating, when Adam came to you and was like, hey, so this could be fun. And you're like, could it be?
Right, I know. And working together too, that was like another concern. I'm like, oh gosh, like, can we work together and still be happily married? Like, what is that going to look like, And I think, like, we kind of joke, like, we have separation of church and state. Like, he works in the office and I work from home. He does home, auto, and business. I do life, long-term care, and disability. And so it's like, yes, we're working together and we have a common goal, but we are doing very different things. And I do social media, he's our tech guy. And so we are doing very different things, common goal, but then also having some of the same clients and, communicating back and forth. And we text and email a lot throughout the day. And so it's been really cool to see, even obviously our business growth, but even in our relationship, how that is evolving and, challenges that come and, like, okay, we need to talk through this. And it's so funny, like, I am very open and willing to share a lot. And I want to do it at all times of the day and even before bed. And, like, I'll even want to talk insurance at like 11 o'clock at night. And Adam would be like, can you just turn it off? Like, I am done. Like, I don't want to talk about your post tomorrow. Like, I'm sure it's really great. I totally believe you, but I just want to go to sleep, or I just want to watch my show and, like, unwind. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm sorry. Like, it's like setting boundaries too. Like, because my brain is constantly like, what about this? Let's try this. And then I feel like my brain's constantly rolling with ideas of things I want to do, things I want to try, and people I want to meet. And he's very good about, like, at the end of the day, like, okay, I'm turning it off and then I'll turn it back on tomorrow morning. And I don't work that way. So it provides good balance for me. Like, okay, I probably should shut it down.
Yeah. So I think, some of what I'm hearing as you're explaining this is that in any good partnership, whether it's a personal relationship or a business partnership, you leverage each other's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to like invade on the technology side of it. He's not telling you how to manage social media. Like you guys are really playing to each other's strengths, and it works out. I mean, because your strengths do allow you to diversify the business then as well.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think, if we had similar strengths across the board, it's like, okay, well, what value are we going to add to each other? There wouldn't be as much. So I think we do complement each other, in those ways. It's like, okay, well, you're really good at this, so you do this, and I'm better at this, so I'll do this. And there's a time too, it's like, okay, I may have time to dedicate to this and you don't. So I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on that. So, it's been really cool to see. And the flexibility, like I knew from a young age, I wanted to be a mom. I didn't know anything else I wanted to do with my life. I really didn't. Like, I just knew like, I want to be a mom. And so after I was working with my dad, and after I had our daughter, I was like, you know what? I want to be at home with her. And so I was. And I worked part-time from home, not full-time. I worked part-time from home. And having that flexibility was amazing. And then our son came along. And then, with kind of like them heading off to school, and I'm like, okay, they're going to be in school for a big chunk of the day. Like, what am I going to do? Like, am I still going to continue to do what I was doing? But really the timing of everything was just very much God ordained. There's no other way to put it. Like, it was just the right time. And so, and then still having flexibility. Like, I want to take my kids to school every day, and I can, I do that. I drop them off every day. And so, and just being available. So that's also what I love, is having a business, you can create that flexibility.
Yeah.
Carve out time in your day for what really is important to you.
Yeah. So you get to, I mean, and I talk about this a lot, but I think it's so important. And my friend, Louise talks about this, and I'm going to tell you, this picture floats through my head probably 50 times a day, but like, our lives are whole. Like, there's not like, oh, well, and especially when you work from home, like it's all together. It's all together. And so being able to like round out that wheel and make sure that you're serving all of those purposes that are most important to you is like, that's the ideal. That's what we're all working towards. And so I love seeing how you're making that happen in your life. I think it's fantastic. And I think like, we can all learn something from that. It just, but it takes intention. It's not like it's happening by chance.
No, I think, it does take intention. Certainly not without challenges.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We still have meltdowns. We have our days where it's like, oh my gosh, I like want to pull my hair out. Yeah. And then there are other days where it's like, okay, things are coming together and the day is flowing. And then, before I know it, it's like 4:00, and it's like, okay, the kids are going to be home. Like I need to wrap up what I'm doing because I want to be present. I want to be available. And so if that means sometimes I might be doing things late at night where Adam's like, you need to shut it down, or I might be doing things early in the morning, just to be able to be present and not miss like those milestones and those important, like, one-on-one times. So
yeah, I love it. So when you look back on this amazing journey that you've had and these couple of years that you've had in the industry now, what is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in life?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the most recent biggest lessons I've learned just the past like 5 months of COVID, is that we cannot control things, right? Like, things are out of our control. We can control some things, but certainly not a lot. And what we can control is how we respond and how we react to things. And so, and I see this so much in my kids because they are looking at us, they are watching us all the time. What are we doing? How are we responding? What is our tone? And so, the last 5 months have been really hard and it's been weird. But choosing to respond with joy and contentment, and really trusting that, you know what, I can't control, I'm just going to control what I can, and then trusting the rest is up to God. And so that is what I've learned these last few months, is like, okay, well, I'm going to just do my best in what I can control. Yeah. So, and attitude being the biggest thing.
Yes. And I think when we try to control too much, it's just like you're just on a hamster wheel.
Totally.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually, you don't gain anything by it. So yeah. And if there was ever a wake up call to that message, I'd say the last few months have definitely.
Totally. 2020, right?
Yes.
You are not in control.
2020.
Yeah. That's the message.
So I'm sure you have all sorts of people that have like influenced where your journey has taken you and where you are today, but who's made the biggest impact on you? Have there been mentors along the way or just other people in your life that have played a significant role?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think everybody has multiple people that have made a big impact in their lives. And for me, yes, it's multiple. My parents, for sure. I worked with my dad for 12-ish years, and it's funny because he was a business owner. He had an auto body collision repair shop, and then we started the used car dealership. And so he was working so much as a kid, and so I didn't get to have tons of time with him. And so for me, being able to spend all of that time with him was amazing. But in the business and outside the business, I just learned, I think, compassion and caring from him. Mm-hmm. He is just such a compassionate and caring person. And so, there were so many times when people would come in, there would be, I can remember there was an old lady, Lola, who, needed her car fixed and she didn't have a ride home. So my dad, the business owner, took her home. And just people that needed help. Whether it's like a neighbor or somebody in the business, like, hey, I can't make rent. Don't worry about it. Like, I'll cover it. Like, just like so much compassion. So I'd say that is what I've learned from my dad, and he's had a big impact on me. And then for my mom, she is such an encourager, like always in my life. Like, Kelly, whatever you do, like, I will be there for you. And a big go-getter. Like, she's always going after something, always learning. And even in her 50s, she started a business. So, like, just an inspiration. Like, you're never too old to start something new. She has a home staging and redesign business, and it's just something she loves. And, and it's also a business for her. So just having that mindset of like, okay, yeah, I'm in my mid 30s. I'm in a new industry. It's all right. It's all good. Like, my mom did it. Other people are doing it. I can do it too. And she was just always a constant cheerleader for me. And then my husband, like, we met when I was 17, he was 18. Like, we were still kids, and we got married super young, like right out of college. And he has really encouraged me in my faith, in working hard and loyalty, just in some really big, I think, values. And so he really is a rock for me. So yeah, those are the three, I'd say, biggest impacts in my life. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So you came from a very male-dominated industry,
right,
into another pretty male-dominated industry by most estimations.
Right.
But you've made some brave steps and some bold moves. How do we encourage more women to do the same?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think by being approachable, and doing podcasts like this, seriously, whether you're on LinkedIn, you're on social media, sharing your story, not just sharing your wins. Wins are wonderful. Everybody wants encouragement, but saying, hey, I really struggled with this. This was hard for me. This is what I overcame. This is what I learned. And just sharing the journey, right? And like, hey, I don't have it all together. None of us do, right? But I can encourage you and come alongside you, saying, hey, maybe try this, or even being open to a mentorship. Like, I have actually, like, really this year, I'm like, I need a mentor, like, in the industry. Like, I have mentors, and I have like a male mentor on the life insurance side. It's like, to be able to have a woman, there's a big difference there. And so, yeah, I think being approachable and understanding, knowing, like you said, like, we all start somewhere, and remembering that, right? Like, wouldn't it be nice to have someone to, like, hey, and this may be not even insurance related, right? Like, it may be an insurance question, but maybe not. Maybe it's like, hey, what would you do if XYZ happens? But yeah, I think that approachability is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, a lot of what we deal with is not necessarily insurance specific. It's, you know, it's strategy, or it's leadership, or, you know, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, mentors can come from all different industries for sure, but it is nice when somebody knows exactly what it is that you're doing and could relate on a very, you know, one-on-one, you know, down in the dirt type of level. So yeah. So did you find a mentor? Did you find the mentor you were looking for?
Still looking.
Okay.
Still looking.
So
Olivia, are you available?
I am available for whatever you need, Kelly. Absolutely. You know, and it's funny that you bring this up. I had this conversation early on when I started the show with another guest. And so we are trying to get some legs under like a true, like almost like, I don't want to call it Match.com. That's horrible. But like, you know, like get some sort of match type of thing going for, you know, people that are coming into the industry and need those mentors. Because I think it's such an important part of our growth. Like we certainly need those things. So yeah, use me as a resource, Kelly. I am more than happy to be that. We can be the fun size mentor.
That's right. Love it.
And I'm sure there's a lot that I will learn from you. And I saw this, oh my gosh, was it, I don't know, it was some post on LinkedIn. I want to say it was Simon Sinek, but I could be way off on that. But anyway, he was talking about how the mentor-mentee relationship is never like a one-way street. There's always so much that's being transferred back and forth. Sometimes we forget that, but like you and I have, it's been like an overriding theme. There's always so much that's being given, like the give and take is always very real in those relationships, in the best relationships. And so I think I think there is it's not just, you know, one person giving advice to another. I think there's learning on both sides. So
I agree. I think there is a good level of give and take for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. You're stuck with me for like.
I'm gonna text you.
Yes, please do. I'll be like, let's see. I gotta like tap into everything that I know.
No pressure at all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I feel like I've committed very publicly, but
I'm gonna hold you accountable. No, I'm only kidding. Only kidding.
Yes. Well, I'm A-okay with that. I'm good with it. So if you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say when challenges happen, and they will, there are opportunities for growth and opportunities to learn and really to lean into God. And so that's what I've, like over the last 10 plus years, just seen, you know, just so many changes from, you know, business and then marriage and family. It feels like so much has happened in 15 years, right? Like there's just been so many different things. And of course, there are going to be challenges, there are going to be great things that come in that time, but knowing that there's purpose in everything, you know, even the really hard stuff. And so use those hard times to learn and to grow. And so that's what I try and remind myself of now is like, okay, I know something's going to happen, right? It's just only a matter of time. And when that happens, what perspective am I going to have? How am I going to respond? Am I going to respond with complaining? Am I going to respond with grace? Am I going to respond with contentment, with joy? You know, how am I going to choose to respond? So that's what I would have told my, 20-something-year-old.
Yeah. When you feel a lot less patient, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would never go back to my 20s.
No, I love where I am right now for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future hold for Kelly? Like, what are your future plans?
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about because I feel like even so much has happened in just like a year and a half with our business. But lots of growth. I'm assuming, not necessarily like hiring a bunch of employees, but I think just relationships, like partnerships, meeting other people in the industry, outside of the industry, and just learning a whole lot more. So that's what I'm really excited about. Like, I really do like change, and I like thinking about, okay, like what next opportunity is going to come and what am I going to learn from that? And so that's what I love about being new in an industry. It's like there's always something new to learn. And new people to meet, right? And so, yeah, so that's what I'm excited about in the future.
Yes. So I will make sure to put a link to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes,
cool.
so people can connect with you. So
Great.
yeah, business people, insurance people out there, make sure that you connect with Kelly, because gosh, like the networking aspect of this industry is powerful.
Yes,
So
for sure. And I don't know what people did like prior to like
media.
LinkedIn and social media. Like how did people connect, right? Like especially like in business.
Yeah.
Like how are you reaching out to, are you calling people? Are you saying, hey, like maybe that's, I don't know. Is that what happened 15 years ago?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like I remember going to like continuing ed classes and you would meet people. Honestly, that's how I met people early on.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. People are really like, why is that girl talking to us? What do you do? Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay. So are you ready for the final question?
Yeah. What's the final question?
All right. So if you get to play DJ for 5 minutes, you get to pick any song. What song are you going to choose?
Okay, I would totally choose Happy by Pharrell Williams. That's my jam. Like, I love that song. And it's so funny. Like, actually, just yesterday, I was like, Alexa, play Happy, And I'm like full on dancing in the kitchen. Like, everybody's in the kitchen too. Everybody's like having a snack.
Yeah.
And Adam was like at the table, right, doing something. And I am just like breaking it down, and they are like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, like never do that again," But I'm like doing Running Man and Sprinkler, like throwing it back old school, Like I don't dance, like I'm not graceful and like a ballet. No, that's not me. Like I will do a great Running Man. I used to do the Worm. Like I haven't tried the Worm for quite a few years, but I do like to throw back old school. So I was jamming to Happy. Like I love upbeat, just like music like that. So that's what I would play.
Yeah.
What about you? What would you play?
Well, okay. So, oh my gosh, I almost have to look at, I make millions of playlists.
Millions.
Like, because every week it's like, I feel like I have a different.
Yeah, something different. Yeah, sure. I go in phases. Yeah.
That I want to listen to right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. So
I'm going to have to write this down.
Yes. So it is, Sweet Disposition by the Temper Trap. It's hard to say.
Okay, I don't know that. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit different every week. But I do like a good like just dance it out song. But it does change for me pretty regularly. Yeah. And I think
it's good to mix it up.
Like I run so much, and so I have to get new songs going on the playlist. But yeah. Oh my gosh. So I will add Happy to the playlist. It will happen. I feel Becky Schroeder. I will get this playlist done. So I still need to create it on Spotify, but I love it. It's going to be the most like diverse playlist.
Oh, I want it. Yeah. Like alert me when this is ready.
Yeah. The You Don't Know Schmidt playlist.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go after it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been so much fun, Kelly. I am so excited. I look forward to all of our future conversations. I look forward to watching your career continue to grow and blossom, because I know you have such a bright future ahead of you, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and, to get to know you especially through the show and from here on out. I think we're friends for life.
Totally. Thanks, Olivia. I so appreciate you inviting me on.
Yes, absolutely. Well, take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay warm. Well, maybe it's not going to be cold there. It's cold here, but
right. No, we've got heat for like 2 more days, and then it's getting chillier. Yeah.
Yes. So soak up the sun and tell the family hi for me, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Olivia.
Yes, thanks, Kelly.
Bye.
Bye-bye.